Hello, welcome to AHEF Indonesia 2020 Goes Online. This is Study in Europe webinar series. My name is Alicia. I'm going to be moderating this webinar session. This webinar is going to be presented by Ms. Kati Temenen, the Second Secretary of Political and Cultural Affairs at Embassy of Finland in Jakarta, Ms. Anna Korpi from Embassy of Finland in Singapore, and last but not least, Mr. Hari Halfa, the Customer Relationship Manager at Haaga-Helia, University of Applied Sciences. Please stay tuned until the end of the webinar. We will hold a Q&A session. If you have any questions about the presentation or anything related to the country's higher education, you can submit your questions in YouTube comment section anytime throughout the presentation. And now, please welcome Ms. Kati.
So, Selamat siang, good afternoon. My name is Kati and I'm from the Embassy of Finland in Jakarta. And this afternoon here I have Anna Korpi from the Embassy of Finland in Singapore, as well as Hari Halfa from the Haaga-Helia University of Applied Sciences from Finland. Well, first of all, as you know, the EHEF will continue next week with individual webinars of the different higher education institutions. From Finland, this year we have two participating, the already mentioned Haaga-Helia as well as the University of Tampere. You can find more about these webinars in due course in the EHEF website. And we also, the study in Finland, we will be participating in the virtual fair of the EHEF at the end of next week, so on Friday and Saturday. So in case we're not able to answer all of your questions today, you can come and e-meet us then on Friday and Saturday afternoons. Well, to begin, could I get my presentation? Thank you. I will give you an overview of our small northern country of Finland, and then Anna will follow up with more details about how to come and study in Finland, as well as some scholarship opportunities. And then finally, Hari will take the screen to tell us about study opportunities at the Haaga-Helia University of Applied Sciences. And at the end, we will have time to answer your questions. So, Finland is a Nordic country of 5.5 million people, known as one of the best functioning societies and safest countries in the world. It is one of the world's most innovative countries, as well as a technology superpower. We're also known as one of the cleanest and the greenest countries of the world. But now, for the third time in a row, Finland has also been chosen as the happiest country in the world by the United Nations. So next slide, please. So what does this really mean? What makes us Finns so happy? There are several factors contributing what makes Finland such a good place to live, work, and also to study. Our governance is the best in the world, making us also one of the most stable nations in the world. In addition, we also rank high as one of the world's most transparent countries. Next. We're also one of the least corrupt countries in the world, with 85% of the Finns agreeing or strongly agreeing that they can trust most of their fellow citizens. We rank first among countries with most political and civil freedom and have some of the best opportunities available to our citizens. Wealth and well-being play a part in our happiness. We also come out on top when ranked according to innovations and business environment. Finland is also one of the most socially just countries in the world, where, for instance, healthcare is guaranteed for all. Next, please. Gender equality is one of the core values of the Finnish society, and our commitment to equality is in the core of our happiness. Equality also means equal access to education, so our topic of today. And education is free for every Finn from preschool to university. Next. So the factors behind Finnish happiness are also some of the reasons that make Finland a great place to study. Next. Our education system is one of the best in the world. Our world-class education is available for all, and our institutions are known for their high academic standards, high quality of services, and a dynamic student life. Next, please. Finland also stands out in student satisfaction surveys as Europe's top countries for international students. And in the previous years, we have been among top in student satisfaction awards. Next. Now, after this short introduction to our webinar, I will give the floor, or rather the screen, to our education specialist, Anna from Singapore, for an introduction to study opportunities in Finland. So thank you very much, Makasi, and over to Anna.
Good afternoon on my behalf as well. Like Kati said, my name is Anna Korpi, and I work very closely with our embassy in Jakarta, but I'm actually based here in Singapore. Even though from my virtual background you might not know it, but I chose this one because this is the season in Finland we are actually heading towards. And we are hoping to get a lot of snow again this winter. So Kati already gave you a very good introduction to Finland. So I will skip some of my first slides here, and if I can get even after this the next slide to go into a little bit deeper into the education itself. Like I said, Harry will give you a little bit more information about for example, the detailed opportunities that, for example, Haaga-Helia University of Applied Sciences offers. But I can give you an overview to the whole higher education system. So if we look at the higher education here, we have 13 universities in Finland and then 22 universities of applied sciences. And both of them offer over 400 higher education degrees in English. As you see from this map, we have those 13 universities and 22 universities of applied sciences actually situated in all the different parts of Finland, from Helsinki to all the way to Lapland, where you will find, for example, the University of Lapland in a city called Rovaniemi, where we also know that the actual and true Santa Claus lives in Rovaniemi. Next, please. So the universities that we have, they are the ones that combine the sort of research and the academic stream of the higher education with then sort of bachelor's and master's degrees, and of course also all the way to doctoral degrees, which usually take bachelor's degrees usually in Finland take about 3 to 4 years, then master's degrees about 2, and then a doctoral degree would take another about 4 years. And our universities nowadays are already quite international, but of course we hope to have even more international students in Finland. The next slide, please. Then on the universities of applied sciences, they are the ones that offer very high quality education, but they are a little bit closer to the working life, that they sort of offer professionally oriented higher education, and they then offer bachelor's and master's degrees. And Harry, I'm sure you will tell you a little bit more soon about these. Also, our universities of applied sciences are very international, and many of them are very active in the world, both in terms of course, student recruitment, but also in other education projects. And you will find in our universities of applied sciences, you will find over 100 international programs, where the rest of the 300 are about in the universities. The next slide, please. So, like I said, whenever you want to find more about all of these over 400 degrees, you can go on studyinfo.fi, which is a website that collects all of our offerings in higher education, and you can then search with keywords and search for sort of the domains and the fields that interest you, and see which different universities offer those degrees and those programs. Traditionally, the application period for Finnish universities and universities of applied sciences is between now, about from November, and the closing time is about January. But also nowadays, there's some have also sometimes something called rolling applications, and otherwise also the applications deadline vary a little bit. So make sure that you always check with that university or the University of Applied Science that interests you, and that particular program that you are interested in. We always say that even though nowadays there are tuition fees, but we don't have any application fees as such. So whenever you submit an application, you don't have to pay anything for that. Another website that I could flag is our Study in Finland website, so www.studyinfinland.fi, where you will find all kinds of useful information about life in Finland, studies in Finland, and all of the universities that are in Finland and are available in what they offer. Maybe I will skip this one here just to say that, of course, there are doctoral opportunities as well in the universities. So next slide, please. So about the fees, which I'm sure are, of course, interest always. All of the non-EU students, unfortunately, nowadays have to pay a tuition fee in all the English taught bachelor's and master's programs. But the fees vary very much depending on the program, depending on the universities. So we have sort of put the sort of overall range here. So the bachelor's program ranges from 4,000 euros a year to maybe about 12,000 euros a year. And then on the master's level, they vary from about 5,000 euros to about 18,000 euros a year. So there's, as you see, quite a big range there. All of the universities actually required to offer scholarship opportunities. But they are so far still always universities dependent on their own policies. So you want to check that as well. The living cost, the whole sort of residence permits process is a whole other thing, but this is something that you want to make note of, that as in all of the Schengen countries within the EU, there is usually a minimum requirement for amount of money that you should have to show that you can live in Europe. And in Finland, this number is about a little bit less than 7,000 euros a year, which is about 700 to 900 euros a month. So to kind of show that you are able to then survive on your own during your studies. This is on top of the tuition fees. So next one. So quickly about the scholarships. Like I said, they are offered by the universities directly. And usually they are so that they cover the tuition fee. Sometimes, of course, they might be more substantial, but then usually they cover either 100% of the tuition fee or a part of the tuition fee. So you want to check the details of then whenever you are applying, and you also apply for the scholarships at the same time when you apply for the specific program. For doctoral level, there is different sort of scholarships and grants available in Finland. And those are then also sort of either awarded by the universities directly, or even in many cases by foundations and so on. Then next slide, please. So in the end, we have here just a couple of views into Finland, and I will quickly go through them. And then in the end of my presentation, there is just a short checklist on to remind you what you need to do. So this is what Finland might look like in the winter times. This is from this is from Helsinki, our capital city. So you want to always remember that Finland is both the nature and the forest, like in this picture, and it is about like much of big cities and high technologies. And during the summertime, the country often looks like this, which is some of our favorite seasons, of course, with the sort of midnight sun. So this just reminded that after your studies, you are able to stay in Finland with your residence permit for 1 year to look for a job. And of course, then when you get a job, then you apply for an employment residence permit. But this just to say that we would also like the international students that come to Finland to stay and work for us and really build your life in Finland. Because like Kati said in the beginning, we think that some of the biggest strengths that we have come from the sort of very high quality and functioning society that we have, and we hope that if you come to Finland, you will like it as well. So the next slide is the checklist that I mentioned. So if you are interested to study in Finland, you could start in studyinfo.fi website to look for the particular programs that you might be interested in, and then check the respective admissions information there. At the same time, like I said, apply for the program and the scholarships as you go, and then wait for the acceptance letter, and then we might see you at the embassy in Jakarta when you apply for your residence permit. So I think this is a good overview of the higher education system in Finland. And like Kati said, we are very happy to answer your questions today, or then, of course, also doing the virtual fair with the Finland booth next week during the virtual fair. But like I said, it's probably a good idea to hear a little bit more details, and that's why it's great that we have Harri from Haaga-Helia University of Applied Sciences today with us to give you a little bit more details about what Haaga-Helia offers. So I could pass the floor now to Harri. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Anna and Kati, for good presentations. And I'm very glad to be having this opportunity to present to you. Greetings from Finland, by the way. It's about, well, it's 8:20 in the morning. And I'm actually doing this particular presentation at this time from my home, because Sunday in Finland generally is the day when you don't go to the office on a regular basis. But going into the actual presentation then, that was already in several occasions referred to. So I represent a University of Applied Sciences called Haaga-Helia, and thank you for going into the next slide. You can see where we are. As Anna already mentioned in her presentation, we have university a network and a higher education network that is actually scattered all over the country, but Haaga-Helia happens to be in the southern tip, where we also have the capital of our country. We have campuses in Helsinki and in a place called Porvoo. Porvoo is about 30 minutes by car, another town very close to Helsinki. And then we have Vierumäki. Good luck trying to pronunciate that name. And it's about hour and a half drive away from Helsinki, and it's a more secluded campus on our concentrating on our sports activities. We will just go to the next slide, and you'll be able to see a bit more on us about numbers, in terms of numbers. We are, Haaga-Helia consists of altogether 11,000 students. We have 5 campuses. As mentioned, they are most of them are in Helsinki. We have 650 members of faculty and staff. And then out of the 11,000 students, we have roughly 10%. The figures are, well, in this, with doing math like that, from those figures, it will be 10%, but actually it's a bit more than that when we have international degree students out of the student community. So you could say that we're very proud that to have a healthy and strong international student body, and it doesn't only resonate on our campus, it resonates on the city as well. So Helsinki would be an international city, and you can hear several different languages, both in our institution, but on the streets of Helsinki as well. On top of the degree students, we have about 350 incoming exchange students every year, and altogether 200 partner universities around the world, which then puts us into an international network, which is largely the reason why we have a strong international base. If we'll just go to the next slide, and we'll be able to see the bachelor degrees and the offering there. A bit more about our profile. We have Haaga-Helia is not a comprehensive University of Applied Sciences. Instead, we have a rather clear focus. You would have institutions that then offer, from Finland, you are able to find obviously opportunities in terms of whichever study field. But if you are interested in these fields, obviously, then we would be a noteworthy option for your studies. We offer Bachelor of Business Administration degrees in the fields of aviation business, international business, business information tech, which is a BBA in our instance. And then we have a rather language-based and language-heavy BBA degree called Business Service Solutions and Languages. On top of the business degrees, we do also offer a Bachelor of Hospitality Management, and there's two various programs. One that emphasizes hotel and hospitality business, and another one that emphasizes tourism and event management. And then we have the Bachelor of Sports Studies, which is in the Vierumäki campus. I'll be able to show you imagery in a bit, but if we just go to the next slide, and I'll be able to show you also the master options. You'll be able to see the prices for the degrees. Those are per academic year. Right, and then the Master of Business Administration, there's 3 options, out of which 2 are MBAs. Business Technologies, Leading Business Transformation, those will be the 2, and then Aviation and Tourism Business, and the degree title there would be Master of Hospitality Management and not an MBA. So we can already go to the next slide, but whilst the slide is changing, you probably have now noticed from the offering that we have that Haaga-Helia, what's missing is missing. We don't offer law, we don't offer medicine, or nursing, nor do we offer engineering degrees. We have a rather clear focus in terms of business, hospitality, IT, and sports. And then Haaga-Helia has strong roots as a business school. So if there would be one word that I would describe our institution, is that we're an international business school. You are able to see from these images our main campus, which is on the top left corner, housing some 5,000 to 6,000 students normally. If we could just go back a bit, don't worry, we can just have the slide as well. And in this slide, so you would have the Pasila campus on the top left corner. Our hospitality campus was on the top right corner. On this picture, you're able to see imagery of Helsinki. Our capital is in the top left corner. Some average street buzz on the top right corner. You're not too far away from the lakes and forests, which are actually on the bottom left corner, and then obviously some architectural wonders that you're able to see in the middle and in the bottom row, and then obviously the bottom right corner is the Northern Light picture, which is not in Helsinki. It's in Lapland, but easily reachable from Finland. If you could just take the next slide to show pictures of our campuses. So that you probably already saw the Vierumäki campus, which is on the bottom right corner. So you can see that it's not in the city. It's further out from Helsinki, as I said, about hour and a half drive from Helsinki. And if we just go to the next slide, I'll just briefly go through the points about our institution as an international higher education provider. We have a diverse language offering. Obviously, we offer degree programs in English. The ones that I mentioned are the ones that we offer in English. We offer programs in Finnish as well, but we're not obviously going to concentrate on those. We have a vast selection of exchange study possibilities or practical training opportunities abroad. Every bachelor degree in Haaga-Helia includes a mandatory work placement, which actually is a way that we're able to push our graduates into working life. On my opening slide, we had the vision and the mission that we have for Haaga-Helia, which is and we say it, that we open doors to future careers. And employment to Haaga-Helia is vastly important. We put a lot of emphasis on that, and by actually offering a mandatory work placement for every graduate from the bachelor level, we actually are pretty good in terms of satisfying that promise. We have visiting lecturers through the vast partner network and double degree programs with international partner universities. We can just take the next slide just to have a brief look at some of our indoor imagery. There's actually two slides that are able to, you can just have a brief look. This would be mostly our hospitality campus imagery. And also, well, we have a sales lab, as you're able to see. And this, if I would just pick up one photo from this, would be the bottom right corner, startup school, which is a startup incubator. So studies show and international comparisons show that Finland is one of the best places to start your own business. We have a great support network for that. Haaga-Helia in itself, we even have our own startup school, which means that you can combine your studies and then your business idea, and you can just iterate or develop that business idea into something very profitable, and also progress in studies at the same time. Please, let's go to the next slide to have a look at our working life oriented education and our partner network in terms of who do we work with. These are not university partners, these are partners from the business sector, and you might be able to recognize some brands that are international, such as IKEA or Canon, for instance. So those companies would bring live cases to our business and hospitality and IT students. So that's how you would be studying with us in small groups, tackling problems that are real life problems from the business partners, and that's also a great way to actually make yourself known with the HR department and the management department of that company. So that's the way to get your first job as well. If we'll just go to the next slide, just have a brief look at our partner universities in Europe, which, well, you could say that most of our partners lie within Europe, that there's a lot of partners in Australia, in Netherlands, in United Kingdom, also the Netherlands and France, but also in Germany, of course. And those would be universities that you are able to either spend 1 semester or 2 semesters and complete an exchange period, or even a double degree. The next slide will just give you a brief idea on the non-European partners that we have. I believe we do not have an Indonesian partner. We have been in discussion with many Indonesian universities, but currently we do not have an exchange agreement with any Indonesian universities, unfortunately. Then basically, let's just have a look at the next slide to further elaborate on how we really want to make you succeed in your studies. We're not only there to provide you studies, but we have developed a system where we truly want to support not only our domestic students, but our international students as well. We give study guidance. which means that we have academic advisors that are dedicated into advising you in your studies and also supporting you in finding those internships, the internship placements for your graduation, because unless you do the internship, you will not graduate. And we have a pretty self-driven interest in that as well. We have student associations that are active, so finding friends is easy through, for instance, the student associations, even for those who might feel a bit more shy. And the student associations and Haaga-Helia together, we provide events, and there's something for everyone and something for all. We can just go to the next slide. Further imagery that we have from our student body, and basically, if there's one thing that I would probably lift from this is that it's very well IT driven in terms of, and tech driven. You don't see too many books. Not that we wouldn't be using academic sources. It's just that it's very electronic these days. Our databases are electronic, and with your own laptop, you're able to pretty much cover everything. And that's about it. I just wish to thank you, and if I could have the last slide where we have the follow us, the channels where you're able to the website is over there, haaga-helia.fi, and then if we just have the last slide for following us in whichever media that you feel most comfortable with. That's about it. Thank you very much. I think we might have time for a couple of questions. I see that on the YouTube channel there's people writing rigorously. So I rest my case at this point, and I'm ready for questions. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your presentation. Now we will begin the Q&A session. We have more than a couple questions coming in. Okay, let's start from the top. I have a medicine degree in bachelor. I want to take master's degree. Can I take major that is a little bit different from my previous major, such as Master of Food Tech or Masters of Microbiology?
I can maybe take this one if the colleagues don't want to. So usually these sort of crossovers are indeed very possible in Finland, but it depends always on the particular university and the particular, say, program requirements. And sometimes they might offer sort of additional studies for somebody coming from a completely different discipline. But this sort of whole idea of multidisciplinarity nowadays is very, very common in Finland. So in that sense, I would like to encourage to still explore that opportunity, even if the domain that you are interested in is not exactly the same as where you would continue. So I would say I couldn't promise directly that it's fully on possible, but I would say that it's very likely.
Thank you for your answer. Okay, going to the second question. Do students need to take a pre-uni program in order to, if they already have Indonesian National High School diploma, or they can directly apply to the bachelor's program?
Maybe Harry, you could take this. I know you are quite familiar with pre-uni programs that, for example, Haaga-Helia has.
Yeah, thank you. No, you do not. I'm referring to national legislation here, so it's not only about Haaga-Helia. What the national legislation states about the eligibility criteria for higher education degree is that basically whatever certificate you have that is valid in your home country for you to enter higher education studies, it means that we accept it in Finland as well. So if you have a certificate that enables you to seek higher education in Indonesia. We accept it in Finland as well.
All right. Thank you for your answer. Next question. How many hours will be given to international students to do a part-time job?
Go ahead, Harry.
Yeah. Thanks for moderating, and I really appreciate it. There's no, well, if I would have to give a figure, yes, it would be 20 hours per week. So when you enter Finland, and your residence permit actually is given to you based on your full-time studies. It means that in Finland, we count, for instance, our degrees in ECTS credits, and the normal study load for 1 year is 60 ECTS. And in order to renew your residence permit, you have to complete a minimum of 45 ECTS credits. And basically, if you work 20 hours a week, you are able to reach 60 ECTS. You are able to, for sure, reach 45 ECTS. We understand that you might have weeks where you are able, that you could even work 40 hours a week or 50 hours a week, but it means that you then have to catch up with your studies in order to reach the minimum criteria for renewing your residence permit.
All right. Okay, next question. So the living costs money as a proof as a financial proof. Is it something that is being checked regularly by the government, or is it a one-time thing in the beginning of the registering for visa?
So I can maybe, I don't know if Kati, you want to add from the embassy side, but I can start here that at least it's going to be checked when you apply for your student residence permit. So you would have to present a sort of bank statement saying that you hold basically that year worth sort of the resources that you can live off for a year. To my knowledge, the government does not check regularly is that money still there, but that's at least one place where it's checked.
All right, noted. Well, that's the end of our Q&A session. Just a reminder, all of you can still connect with us, everyone presenting here through the information given earlier. So thank you so much, everyone. I'll see you guys again in the next session.